Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the most remarkable and emotionally charged pieces of modern American theater, William Gibson's The Miracle Worker. We're going to explore the incredible true story behind the script, equip you with the exact vocabulary you need to study it, and set some clear goals for your own reading journey. It's a story of absolute determination and the sheer power of human connection. Let's get right into it. Imagine being a prisoner of your own mind and your own body, completely doomed to a life of silence. Really try to picture a reality where you are cut off from all language. You can't see the people around you, you can't hear their voices, and you have absolutely no way to communicate your own needs or thoughts. This wasn't just a thought experiment, this was the terrifying daily reality for a young Helen Keller. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, a life of silence. Second, enter the miracle worker. Third, from life to stage. Fourth, essential drama vocabulary. And finally, your reading objectives.
Starting with Section 1, A Life of Silence.
Helen's isolation was truly profound. Struck by an illness at just 19 months old, she was left entirely without sight or hearing. By the time our play actually begins, she's 6 years old. That means she's a child who's spent her most formative years totally lacking language, unable to communicate with anyone, and essentially trapped behind an impossible wall of silence. The barrier between her and the rest of humanity, it seemed completely impossible to scale. Moving to Section 2, enter the miracle worker. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the striking contrast between our two central figures. On one side, you have a 6-year-old completely isolated in the dark, lacking any language skills. And on the other side, 20-year-old Anne Sullivan. But here's the thing. Annie isn't some privileged, out-of-touch teacher. She actually experienced blindness herself during her childhood. And get this, she was entirely illiterate until she reached her teens. This is absolutely crucial context. Annie's own past struggles with vision and language made her uniquely, deeply suited to understand the dark, isolated world Helen was trapped inside. She literally knew what the darkness felt like. The entire essence of this drama is perfectly captured in one thought. Through young Annie's belief, imagination, and perseverance, a miracle occurred. The miracle worker tells about this breakthrough in communication. It wasn't magic, and it definitely wasn't overnight. It was sheer, stubborn perseverance. Annie believed a breakthrough was possible when literally everyone else had given up, and her imagination allowed her to find a way to teach a child who couldn't even see or hear her. That brings us to Section 3, From Life to Stage. William Gibson didn't just invent this narrative out of thin air. He grounded it deeply in reality. It's kind of like a giant puzzle he pieced together. He synthesized Helen Keller's own autobiography, The Story of My Life, with the very real letters written by Anne Sullivan that were appended to that book. And then, to really round out the perspective, he integrated material from Nella Brodi's biography, Anne Sullivan Macy. By weaving these primary and secondary sources together, Gibson ensured that his drama had incredibly authentic roots. And the public resonance with this authentic story? It was staggering. After its initial production in February 1957, it rapidly exploded in popularity. It entered its Broadway era, running for a massive 719 performances and taking home a prestigious Tony Award. The stage production featured the legendary performances of Anne Bancroft playing Annie and Patty Duke as Helen. Their performances were so iconic that both actresses actually reprised their roles in the 1962 Hollywood movie adaptation. And guess what? They both won Academy Awards for it. It is a true testament to the emotional power of this script. Now let's look at Section 4, Essential Drama Vocabulary. When we talk about an autobiography, we mean the story a person writes about their own life. It's crucial to remember that Helen Keller ultimately found her voice and wrote her own autobiography, which became the very foundation of Gibson's play. So if you ever write your own memoirs, you're writing an autobiography. Let's move to the next term and see how this builds. In contrast, a biography is a written account of a person's life history written by someone else. While Helen wrote an autobiography, the author Nella Brodi wrote a biography about Anne Sullivan. It's a really important distinction to keep in mind when you're evaluating the different perspectives that shaped the play. You'll also encounter the flashback. Authors use this dramatic device to interrupt the story and briefly jump back in time to tell the reader something that happened in the past. As you read, pay close attention to these moments. They are absolutely key to unlocking Anne Sullivan's own traumatic history and understanding what drives her. Finally, we have prose. This is just ordinary speech or writing, totally distinct from poetry or verse.
Gibson uses prose throughout the dialogue and the stage directions to capture the raw, natural, and sometimes chaotic rhythm of these characters' real lives. It perfectly reflects how people actually speak when pushed to their absolute emotional limits.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Your Reading Objectives. As you prepare to dive in, you might be using the widely referenced 2008 Scribner edition of the book to explore William Gibson's play. But hey, don't worry if you have a different version. The profound story remains exactly the same. Just keep an eye out, as the specific page numbers might be slightly different from edition to edition. Any copy will work just fine.
So the crucial point is to keep these core learning objectives in focus to get the most out of this experience. Try to recall facts about the authorship and absorb that vital biographical info about Helen and Anne. You'll want to list the steps for reading a play and be sure to map out the shifting settings, the dynamic characters, and the pivotal events. Keeping these keys in mind will for sure unlock a much deeper appreciation of the drama.
As you open your book, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Put yourself in that silent, dark room. If you were trapped in a world completely without sight or sound, what would it take for someone to help you break through that impossible wall of silence? Keep that profound question in your heart as you witness Annie and Helen's battle for language. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.